Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Allie, and as you can tell from the title of this video, I'll be talking about the show Younger. Now, it is one of my favorite shows on TV right now, and I actually did try to record a Younger video previously, talking about seasons 1 through 4 and like what I thought season 5 was gonna be like before season 5 premiered, but that clearly didn't happen because I had technical difficulties, which is why I'm using my camera and not my phone. So I'm praying that I can fix that soon because, as you can tell, I also need a camera upgrade. We'll see. Now I want to do a quick rundown of each episode so far. There have been 4, and then this week we have a break, and then we'll continue with 5. Now, episode 1 was called Liza 2. That one had the LL Moore accusations come up and Charles deciding whether or not he wanted to say anything and bring them to light because they were just about to say that Empirical was going to release a new series and it was basically going to bring them in more money. In the end, he chose to speak up and say, hey, yes, these are real. We're dropping LL Moore, which led to LL Moore bringing in a bunch of files and spilling the tea that Liza is not who she says she is. So yes, Charles finds out at the end of episode 1 that Liza is not 26-year-old, she's not single, she's a mom, blah blah blah, she's been divorced. Which she's like, what? And we're all like, what? Even though I did, in the video that was not published, I did say that Charles was going to find out.
I feel like season 5 is gonna have another reveal, whether it's Charles or another blackmail. Somebody has to find out.
Now, episode 2 is called A Titanic Problem. That one was about Millennial and their marriage vacation, getting a movie deal with Reese Witherspoon's People, and that being a big deal. And also it's discovered or shown that Josh is back from Ireland. Totally forgot that had happened at all. And a lot of tension in this episode comes between Liza and Charles really looking at Liza now that he knows the truth. Episode 3 was called The End of a Book Tour, and that one was about Pauline and Liza and Diana going on a book tour with Marriage Vacation and having to deal with the fact that they were lying to people when they asked if Pauline and her IRL husband were still together. They of course weren't. Charles does not want anything to do with Pauline. He doesn't want to work it out. He wants the divorce. But because they want to sell books and get it talking and just have Marriage Vacation out there, they lie and they say that yes, they're together. And so Pauline can't lie, which is, I call BS on that anyways. And she kind of has a hard time, trouble going through the press tour and lying, and she gets emotional, and in the end she ends up spilling the truth and telling everyone like, hey, we're not together, we don't live a happily ever after, blah blah blah. And I liked the end of this episode. Well, not like the end, but the part with Pauline, because sister snapped, okay? She went off on Charles, which I love because Pauline the whole time, I saw her very ditzy and like, oh, and my head is in the clouds and blah blah blah. And she went off on Charles, telling him like he never noticed her, and like if he did, he didn't care, he only cared about himself, and something we just didn't see. We only ever really like saw her hopeful and like what she wrote in the book. So I love that they added that part of the character. It's also revealed that Pauline now knows what was going on between Charles and Liza because Charles becomes sassy and he's like, yeah, I am blind to what's right in front of me, and he eyes Liza like hardcore. And so Pauline catches on, and then Charles walks out and Liza walks out. And before that there was a lot of like, again, tension, and he was basically insinuating like he knew that she was lying. So in the end she like runs after him and confronts him, and she now knows that he knows, and she talks about leaving, but he is like, I thought you did all of this for a job. and so it's kind of like, ow. I really don't like Charles in the way that he's avoiding her and he's being petty and ugly, and like I get it because he was lied to, but it's not like she had this like whole other family and she was commuting from Jersey to New York City. Like, homegirl is single. Yeah, she has a daughter, but like she's older. It's not like she has a 2-year-old at home. And I don't know, I feel like he's being a little dramatic about it. Episode 4 is called The Talented Mr. Ridley. Now I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I feel like I didn't even watch this episode. They're at a dinner party thing and there's a lot of tension between Charles and Liza because they're playing a game and Charles is like, you're lying, I know you're lying, you're good at lying. Like, it's just straight up him being hard on Liza. So she's trying to cope with that. There's also a new like love interest, I guess. I don't know. This random guy is like, hey, do you want to go to this party with me? And then Liza's like, sure. And then we find out he's like not exactly who he says he is either. He's like poor or like something. And then Charles, I feel like he confronts her and he says something. I think he like tries, no, see guys, I apologize. But I do know that there's at one point Liza does try to tell Charles that she's sorry and if she could just tell her side of the story, and he just wants nothing to do with it. And so they're still he's still hurt and will not forgive her. That is what's going so far. That's the main story. There's also other, of course, storylines going on, like Josh coming back, obviously, and him dealing with him and Claire not working out and him feeling lost and possibly thinking about Liza again, which I like the idea, but also if she's trying to move with Charles, not move in, but like move along with Charles and have that going again, Josh is it's just going to be a cycle, on, off. And then there's also the Kelsey and Zane, which I am not at all a fan of. Not a fan. I feel like Kelsey deserves better, and I feel like Zane, there's just nothing true comes out of his mouth, and I feel like he's always looking out for only himself. And as much as they're like flirty and he tries to tell her like, hey, come be with me, it's just a lot of charm and a lot of lies. So I feel like this new government official guy that was in episode 3, I believe, is coming in to woo Kelsey. I'm about, and it makes Zane jealous, but I'd rather have her go with him than with Zane. Now, there's also Lauren's in there a little bit, which I'm confused. I don't know if she's living in the apartment with Kelsey and Josh or not, but she's there. And then, of course, Diana Trout and Maggie. I almost said Debbie because Debbie's her real name. And Maggie. Now, I know in this upcoming episode, they do have that like plumber construction guy coming in for Diana again, which I love because sis needs another love interest. And I feel like their little storyline of like them like hooking up while he was working, I like absolutely love that. That was wild. So I'm glad they decided to return or bring his character back. But besides Kelsey and Zane's storyline, it's not my favorite. I also don't like the way Charles is acting. I think I'm pretty sure I said that already. But he's just so, like, just love Liza, forgive her, hear her out. I think that's the most important thing he needs to do is, like, hear her out and, like, why. And then I feel like he'll understand and they connect. Because, like, they're both divorced, going through divorce. They both have kids. They're about the same age. Like, they're perfect. And then I knew with Josh, too, him and Claire were not going to last. So I'm hoping that, like, he can find himself first and then find a love interest, because it was very like he was with Liza, then he was heartbroken, then he was like sleeping around, then he was with Liza again, I don't even know, and then he found Claire, and that was my camera died, so we really do have to finish the rest on my phone. Besides those 2-3 things, I feel like season 5 I feel like the end of season 5 it's gonna be revealed that Diana knows. Like, they're gonna throw that in there at the end, and then she's gonna be like, oh my god, do I fire Liza? Do I give her props? Like, what do I do? I do feel like Charles is gonna forgive her halfway, sort of like Kelsey did. There just has to be like this big like oh moment for him to see why she was doing it. That's about it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching, and leave in the comments below what you think so far, what storylines you like, what you don't like, all that good stuff, and what you think is going to happen at the end. That's the main question, because they have been renewed for another season, which is exciting because the last cliffhanger was with Charles calling Liza at Josh's wedding and that whole shindig. So who knows what the end of the season will entail. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with my review over episode 5. Bye.